Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined by Jake Davis and our very special guest today, Jackie, Jake's girlfriend.
Hi.
Isn't she lovely? I think you could honestly introduce me as Jackie's boyfriend on this one. I'd be fine with that at this point.
That's sweet. No, Jake has his own simp army in the making, from what I understand.
No, compared to Shannon's, we are at best a ragtag militia.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's not even close.
Me and Jake Simps, we can't do shit to the Shannon Simps. There's
No,
way too
like
many of them.
the people that are in the Jake camp, we're all just kind of passing a J around and just kind of like, we're having a good time over here. The Shannon army's taking down the walls of Mordor. They're unstoppable. They're gonna fight Genghis Khan next week and whoop their ass.
My militia is like
Wow.
a horse and a duck and some guy who thinks he's a pilot and he's not. That's the little people on my team.
Oh man, I hope Pilot Boy's doing all right now.
But yeah, we're really excited. So we've been talking about this for a while, but Jake threw this huge party. It's actually, I think we're calling it a mini festival. I think that's the best way to describe it.
It's either a mega party or a mini festival.
It's a mini festival.
Somewhere in between.
It was 18 of us in Desert Hot Springs, which is...
Final head count probably around 22 with some of our drop-ins and all that.
It's basically a stunning property. It's often used for weddings. It's called the Bubbling Wells Oasis. There's hot springs. There's cold springs. There's one of those pools where you can swim and swim and swim forever. Yeah, there's so much to say, but I guess I DJ'd. There was all kinds of different events. But I guess let me just bring this in with what I thought was the coolest part. You know, I'd heard of this thing, a safe space, and I never really knew what that meant. I guess I just thought it was like, yeah, it's safe because no one here is a dick. But like there was this like campy vibes to Vapor Daze, which was the name of the mini fest, that I thought just Jake did an amazing job of orchestrating. And there was kind of like a variety show, and it just felt like a place where like, you know, everyone, like I DJ'd, but other people did other music acts and all kinds of things. And
People
it was
brought characters.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like, have fun, do your thing. No one's here to judge. We're all here to just fuck around together and have a fun time. And I just wanted to applaud you, Jay, because I just felt
Thank
like
you,
a
Danny.
lot
Yes.
of artists are afraid. Art is scary. It's vulnerable. And in this
Totally.
space, I got to pretend I was a world-class DJ. And that was
And you
amazing
killed
for me.
it.
To all of us, you were. And I would take the proverbial mic here, and I want to call out, this was the second year that we did it. And the reason why you got the experience you got is because I had a tremendous amount of help from Jackie, obviously, but also our friends Chris and DJ. Our friend Chris, who is a professional IT technician.
We had huge speakers, we had projectors, we had lighting. I mean, it was amazing.
Without Chris, we would not have had the spectacle that we all
Yes,
experienced.
for sure.
Without DJ, we would not have had the inclusivity, the warmth that we all experienced. Without Jackie, we would not have had this incredible slew of photography and decorations throughout the backyard.
I think we just took it to a different level that we didn't know was possible. And I think that that's what's so exciting about, you know, this becoming an annual, maybe recurring thing, is that it's just going to get better.
The vibe curation was really amazing, and I got to see different sides of Jake, which I thought was really cool. One of my favorite moments is, you know, someone took an edible and they were kind of freaking out. And Jake was really in his element. He's just entertaining this whole group of people. Like he's got like 8 people in a circle around him, and this person off to his left just goes like, "Oh, I took too much of an edible." And Jake really doesn't skip a beat and just goes, "You're the perfect amount of high," and then goes right back into his story. And I was like, I think he just totally solved that problem with that. That was insane.
If you hadn't caught that, Danny, I never would have registered it. So I'm really glad that you gave me shine for that. And that's what the whole weekend is about. It's about shining up our friends and showing each other like, yo, you're an artist. Whether or not you know it, you bring art to every moment and facet of your life. And that's what the whole weekend is about. It's a big old canvas, and everybody brings their colors, and we throw it all over the place. And by the end of it, we've got a beautiful piece of painting on our hands.
I've like been trying to think about like how I would describe it. And like, yes, it's a party. Yes, it's kind of like akin to a festival, but it also has like kind of like an interesting sort of like artist, like, you know, Laurel Canyon kind of Chateau Marmont vibe to it too, you know? It's a bunch of people who like, you know, don't necessarily know each other super well. Maybe they're like acquaintances or like know of each other. And at the end of the weekend, they're friends and they're trying to hang out and they want to make art together and they want to, you know, be in each other's lives. And I think that that's really impactful. And like just the reality is that like none of these connections would happen if we didn't have Jake and if we didn't have this idea that was born. So
I absolutely think, Jake, you are central to it. I think what is so cool and what lines up so well to me about this with the pod and with things I've learned about myself and why I was just so blown away is like, look, almost everyone has this desire to express themselves in whatever way. You know, obviously, you know, I have this podcast, I do stand up, but I actually am a very like reclusive, kind of quiet guy about music. Like I love my music, but I don't really share it with people. I have hangups about it. And at Vapor Days, that just went away. And that was something that I think was huge. And I actually cried at the end. And it wasn't on behalf of me, if I'm being honest. It was because I could sense for other people how much Vapor Days meant to them. And I knew that there were people there who wouldn't want to go to a fucking open mic in the big city. And that would be scary. And I think it's really a special thing that you did that, Jake, for those people. And it was thoughtful. And I absolutely think it will shape them and their artistic, not career. And that was the other thing I want to say. It wasn't about career. It was about making art for art's sake. And there was
it's about who you are.
It felt like communism in a good way of just like, money doesn't matter here. Like, we're all here to just enjoy each other and just be in this moment together. And that was an amazing thing. And Jake, you are the right guy for it. And it's not just because you're wearing that bandana, baby. Well, we've got a juicy app for you today. We're going to do some festival-oriented stuff here. Our second story of the day. AITA for going to a birthday party in casual attire. But first, folks, it's would I be the asshole for selling my music festival tickets? My boyfriend and I are going to a music festival with some friends, and we're renting a camper. I bought the camper pass, and the friends booked the camper. Both are the same price. I did all the research on the campers to make sure they were on the way to the fest and that they were music festival friendly. I sent them a couple to choose from, and they booked it. They will also be towing it to the fest since their name is on the booking. The camper has a main bed, a queen cubby bunk beds, a couch, and kitchen table. There will be 4 of us in this camper. A couple days ago, I talked to Bobby and asked him if him and his SO were claustrophobic, since there's only one main bed. He said no, and I went on to explain to him that I am extremely claustrophobic. Today I received a text from Bobby in the group chat we have saying we need to go ahead and hash out the sleeping situation, and that Bobby and SO are going to take the main bed, and me and my SO can sleep on the couch. There was no discussion. I replied with, I was hoping no one was sleeping in the living area so we'd be able to hang out there, and I don't want anyone sitting on my bedding. And the reply was, well, we can fold it in if we need to. My biggest problem with all of this is that there's a perfectly comfortable queen-size bed that they can sleep on without any issue, but instead are having us be uncomfortable on a couch. I've also done all the work for us to be able to go to this festival comfortably. I've been before, and it's a hot one. I'm already uncomfortable, and this is just going to make it worse when there is an option for all of us to be comfy. I didn't want to go again this year, but my SO wanted to try it again, so I was giving it a shot. But after this, I'm fed up, and I want to sell our tickets and sell the other couple the camping pass, or rent our own camper so we can all be comfortable and make them buy their own pass. Would I be the asshole for selling my festival tickets and giving them the option of buying my pass, or making them buy their own camper pass and renting my own RV?
I do understand slightly where OP is coming from. Like, yes, you did all the research for the RV and you looked at all of the, like, you know, available options and sent it to the group. However, if you had an issue about claustrophobia or like needing a specific bed, you needed to state that like way earlier than like a week before the festival. At this point, your cost is kind of sunk. Like, unless you can find somebody else that will take your pass, like that's fine. But like, you have to like vet them with the other couple that you're going with, and that's like a whole inconvenience at this point. So like, I would say sell your festival tickets, but like your camping pass is like just it's a sunk cost.
I'm reading massive internalized unassertiveness. I'm like, did you even push back, OP? There was no discussion? Yeah, it sounds like you didn't say anything. Like, they're driving the camper, so like they kind of took a step forward and were like, yeah, we're taking the main bed, which I understand. It's a pain in the ass to go get the camper. Like, you can easily step in. You need to step in and broker a deal. Instead, you're getting all hot and bothered, but nobody did anything wrong. In fact, nothing even happened here. This is a very normal move. You know, and I've waffled. For instance, I booked the Airbnb for me, Jake, and Shannon. I want to give them one of the worst rooms because I'm a diva. I get the best room. But I'm not going to just do that blatantly where there's going to be a conversation because it's a podcast about etiquette, so I have to be a good person, which is fucking annoying. I should have started a podcast called I'm the Asshole, and then I could have just been an asshole. That would have been a better move. But anyway.
That podcast exists in another universe.
Yeah, right?
And it's just you.
It's just me just
No,
going
Shannon and I are still on it, but everybody hates Shannon. She's the worst one. There's warrants out for her arrest.
Yeah.
I have absolutely
the simp army's not there. They don't tolerate the feet or the piss gargoyle. They don't.
And she doesn't even do those things either. She's like a fascio Christian. It's a weird, like everything's upside down. I'm short and unremarkable. It's crazy.
So Danny's a tall king. Wow.
Oh my God. If I was tall, it would just be, I don't even want to
It'd be
go
over.
It'd be game over for
bad.
Danny.
There's too much like hostile competition. Let me point out. Go ahead.
If you're going to do this kind of thing, you have to kind of let go of the idea that budgeting is going to work all the time. You can budget well. You can budget in areas where it's going to help you. You can be smart about how you're spending. But there are going to be unforeseen costs. And if it comes down to comfort's not something you can ask people to bend on. The good times will not roll if people aren't comfortable. So the one way to fix that is being okay with the fact that there are going to be some sunk costs. Me personally, I will sleep on a beanbag chair if I need to. If I need to sleep flat back on the hard ground, all I honestly need is one pillow and a thin blanket, and I can make it work.
Just a heads up that a thin blanket for Jake Davis is 6-inch thick carbon fiber. So
I was going to say a tarp. I was going to say a tarp, like the kind that you throw over your trampoline in a bad hail store.
I'm trying to make a Jake is gigantic joke.
Well, no, they know what you're.
Jake does use a duvet on his side of the bed.
I love
and
a duvet.
It's too hot for me. I can't do it.
I love a duvet.
I don't know.
And what's on your side?
Just like a sheet and like a quilt
Almost nothing.
thing. Yeah.
Oh, just a sheet?
No, it's a sheet and like a nice like quilt thingy.
July to September, it's usually just a sheet. You start with a quilt and then you kick it over to my side, and I'm sleeping underneath a mountain of blankets.
My feet have to be aired out. I'm sorry. Like I get really my lower body gets really hot.
Oh, you're a heater.
It's
you're one
problem.
of those gals.
Oh yeah, I get real hot.
But you guys,
as long as
you guys follow my rule. So if we ever want to form a throuple, I regret even thinking that thought. But I am a strict, independent blanket guy. I will love you and cuddle you, but once we go to bed, you get the fuck in your own blanket and don't tug mine. Don't you even dare.
We've usually got about 10 minutes of cuddling before there's this moment of just like, okay, sticky.
Bye.
Sticky. See you in the morning.
I wanted to point out that OP also, so OP is like kind of hitting this note that they're claustrophobic, which I almost feel like they're kind of drumming up some drama. It kind of sounds like you don't like tight spaces, but it's probably not a bona fide psychological phobia, but fair enough, I'll give it to you. But where I get it's a little bit like, you kind of sound like you're being picky, or you're kind of doing a hostility transference, right? Because then they go, well, nobody better sit on my bedding. Okay, well, that's not related to claustrophobia. That just sounds like you're being picky. Like, you're in a fucking RV. People are going to sit everywhere.
Literally. Like, that's why we decided to do sleeping bags when we had an RV camping situation, because we were like, well, at some point we're going to need to get ready and do our makeup and like do whatever. So like, there's only X amount of places to sit. Like there was a table and chairs and like that folded into like a bed. But like we were like, okay, so that's gonna obviously become a thing. So we just have to make it easy so that we have spaces to put things. Cause like, we'll make friends and like, we'll want them to come hang out in our RV, or we'll, want to like do a little bit of pre-gaming or whatever. It's like an RV is not like a private space whatsoever.
It's not.
No.
I think we're lined up here. Would I be the asshole for selling my music festival tickets? OP, please stand up for yourself and say a fucking thing. Learn how to broker a deal. You did not broker this deal well, and I'm sorry, but even if it doesn't go your way, which honestly, I feel like you should be able to be like, well, I'll pay more. I'll pay more to get the main bed, because you need to make up for the fact that they hauled the camper. That's a pain in the ass. So whatever.
Like, okay, yeah, you did the research, but they're the ones that went and got it, and that is an incredibly stressful experience. Like, I had to be shotgun for my friend who picked up our RV, and he was freaking the fuck out. And like, rightfully so. It's like driving a fucking tin can.
I'm happy you brought us there, because I feel like the do your research friend, it's like, I get that it's labor. It totally is. But it gets a little bit like you're kind of fucking with the numbers when you start to go, well, I did all the research. And it's like, okay, well, the fact that you spent 6 days comparing 17 different models of campers and making a spreadsheet was more about you. You had very particular demands for this. You failed to broker the deal to implement the demands as you wanted them. So, like, you don't get to decide that your fucking labor rate for your shitty ass research, your fucking Ocean's Gate ass bullshit is all of a sudden going to make up for and should be compensated for in this deal. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, I agree with that entirely. And if it was something you needed to state that up front. Like, I am happy to do the front load of the research, but like in return, I would like to be able to pick where I would like to sleep first.
Well, you should set up the deal. Fair. That's the benefit of doing the research, is that you're the one who brokers the deal, and you go, yo, Jackie and Jake, do you guys want to start a throuple? Here's the deal. It's $500 and we're staying in the Luxor for 2 nights. And then you go,
Luxor,
that's a fucking
Danny.
Scam, you piece of shit. And then
I do like those slanted windows. He's got me with the slanted windows. Those are nice.
It's the only hotel that doesn't have an elevator. It's called, I forget what it's called, but it doesn't actually go up and down. Anyway, would I be...
Jackie, you're gonna love this. You feel really uncomfortable walking towards the way to get down from your room.
Okay, interesting. I've only been in the Luxor lobby. I've actually never been like up in the rooms, but like I would be down to investigate that one day.
It's bad. It's not great.
It's a motel that's shaped like a pyramid. Would I be the asshole for selling my music festival tickets? I think we agree. Yes, you would be the asshole. And stand up for yourself, OP. It's turning you into an asshole.
Don't wait until the week of the show to do this shit. You got to have this stuff hammered out 6 months out. If you're doing these group involvement stuff, somebody's got to jump on the grenade and be the group mom and do the organizational stuff. That's clutch.
Well, and set this up.
Sell your ticket. Sell the like festival ticket. You can absolutely resell that easily, but like your camping pass is a sunk cost. Give up on that.
And I do feel like if you booked out Vapor Days, Jake, like you guys did all that planning stuff. It was never even a question that you got to pick your room because you're the coordinator. That's the payment for doing the research.
When you're the person handling the things that everybody else says, I don't want to do that. That's what Chris did this year. He handled the stuff that nobody else wanted to do. They got that main room.
It was a negotiation, but the bottom line is I would never question, like, why do you get to be in the main house, Jake? Right. It's like a joke. Of course, you coordinate it. All right, guys, please rate, review, and subscribe. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. I'm not making any promises, but if you want to clutch that Vapor Days invite, it's probably going to be your fastest way there. No promises.
I'm going to also incite you to subscribe to the Patreon and not make any promises. So you go ahead and do that.
There we go. I finally got Jake to plug the damn Patreon.
I plug the Patreon. I tell people
usually make fun of me. I get insulted.
I tell people that's where I give my secrets up. That's how I get them in.
All right, guys, here we go. AITA for going to a birthday party in casual attire. I-21F recently went to a bday party for a girl I know. I'm not very close to her, but she was inviting the rest of my friend group, and so it was probably kind of like a courtesy invite. From the little I do know about her, I could tell she's very girly, and she loves to dress up. I'm the opposite. I'm a tomboy, and I hate wearing dresses and skirts, and I'm much more comfy in jeans and a t-shirt. The party was in my friend's apartment, so no super fancy restaurant or venue or anything, but the birthday girl asked us all to dress in semi-formal attire for some reason. I made sure to let her know ahead of time that I'm not comfortable in dresses or fancy clothes and wouldn't be comfortable dressing up. And she told me I could wear a suit or a jumpsuit and that she wanted her party to, quote, feel like an occasion. Again, I'm not comfortable in formal attire, and if this were a venue with a dress code, I would bite the bullet for her sake, but it was literally just in an apartment. So there was no official rule, and she had no right to dictate what I do unless I'm harming someone else at her party. I told her as much, and she said that she didn't want to fight over it, but she would really appreciate it if I just put in some effort. I thought it was very shallow to put a dress code on a birthday party, since what someone's wearing shouldn't be important as the fact that they're there to celebrate with you. And I also wasn't too keen on the idea of someone thinking their birthday party gives them the right to control people down to what they wear. So I told her I wouldn't be dressing up. She said, okay. When the party rolled around, I stuck to what I said and came in my jeans and t-shirt. Everyone was taking pictures and nobody asked me to be any, which was making me feel left out. Every time I got in a picture by asking if I could be in it, whoever was taking it would take one with me and then immediately take one without as soon as I left. I asked one of the girls I knew if everything was okay and why I couldn't join in any of the pictures. She told me it was because of the way I dressed. and that everyone else was dressed up and my clothing was making the party look less special, I got sad and left. I really didn't think people would actively exclude me just because of my clothes. It just didn't seem like a big deal, but I know I was told to dress up. AITA.
This is right up there with Pilot Boy for me. This is right up there with James and Archer the dog, and Arrow the dog that had a special diet. I hate this. I hate this so much.
As somebody who has thrown many a theme party, who attends many a theme party, like, if you don't want to wear something, that's totally fine, but you gotta accept that, like, you're not gonna fit the vibe, you're not gonna fit the aesthetic, and, like, everybody, I feel like most of our friends, like, leap at the opportunity for a theme party. They're like,
hell yeah,
like, let's go. And, like, that's, I think, like, very clutch with, like, Vapor Days, right? Like, everybody was ready for the fits and ready for, like, you know, stunting on everybody and just, like, really getting into the whole, like, theme of the weekend, right? And that was why we had so much great media content, was because everybody was playing game with that, right? But, like, if you actively choose to not participate in the theme or the dress code or whatever, you're not going to be included. And if you feel sad for not being included, I'm sorry, you dug your own hole there.
Well,
Like,
you excluded yourself, right?
Exactly.
The conceit of the party was this theme. I wanted to break down some of the things OP said because I remember being young. I think OP might be very immature. Maybe they were homeschooled or something, because they're not wrong about some of the ideas behind what they're saying, but they're just not really understanding how this kind of plays out in the real world.
Totally.
And they're 21, so it's not completely not understandable. You know, first they equate this with the right to control people down to what they wear. But it's funny that they bring this up because, you know, everyone gets to express themselves and nobody ever dictated what I would wear at Vapor Days or any party. But as you're saying, our voluntary contribution does create this vibe and this energy and this aesthetic, this look, right?
Yeah.
Nobody, and I think there's a big gap between saying, like, try to fit the vibe and you must wear this, right? Like, that's not as fun. That starts to go into uniform territory. So there's still an openness in the parameters.
And this is the extreme, right? If you get invited to something that is defined as a black tie affair, and you decide to show up looking like I do right now, folks at home who aren't watching in a visual medium, I'm dressed in nonsense clothes.
I love that.
You are probably not going to be featured in a lot of the, event in review slideshows because they were trying to achieve something. And this isn't even that extreme. This is like you went to a birthday party where the theme was nobody wear blue. Wear any color except blue. Very broad, very wide ranging. Any interpretation of it can be met.
You're right. It's so broad.
Yeah. This is not specific. It's just saying, hey, I like dressing up. It's my birthday. And I can't remember the exact quote. I don't know if anybody caught it, but there's a quote in here where it's like, what gives you the right to tell me what I have to wear? Well, it's my birthday. And I'm saying maybe wear something that's gussied up a bit.
That's the fun of it. And I also think it's not just not contributing to the vibe. The reality is that if everybody else is complying with the vibe and there's a picture with someone not complying, the picture is literally about you.
Yeah.
You become the center. It's actually very
like,
self-centered.
who's this person?
Exactly.
I went to a birthday party a few years ago where the theme was a white party, and anyone who knows me knows I, like, really don't wear any color besides black, maybe like dark blue, maybe some like maroon, dark purple, that kind of thing. Like, white is like literally the antithesis of what I would wear, right? So I had to like source some clothes specifically for this party, but like it then became like a challenge to me of like, okay, how can I showcase my own individuality in this white party aesthetic while still like respecting the vibe, the aesthetic direction of my friend's birthday? And, you know, I like to think I crushed it. I had a little fun with my makeup and, you know, we did a whole little thing there. But like, you know, it was something definitely out of my comfort zone. But I think that, you know, it was probably for the better of it because like I looked great and I fit the vibe of the party. And I think that, you know, you're just doing a disservice to yourself.
And Jackie, you just nailed one of the most important, a very simple phrase that was super, super key in me getting into therapy and me learning how to heal from the stuff that I was carrying from my younger years. It's not about you. But when you have these moments where you recognize either subconscious or consciously, where part of your ego recognizes this isn't about me, and you make it about yourself, you do become the problem. And people are going to talk about you. If somebody came to Vapor Days understanding that the spirit of this whole weekend is inclusion, acceptance, artistic encouragement, and you show up wearing a Bush Cheney 04 campaign t-shirt and you have a jacket that has "It's Not Ironic, Hell Yeah, Iraq War" on the back.
I would take it sarcastically. It's so on the nose, but I see
it's super on the nose.
You know, this person has a long way to grow, and I think to summarize it, I think it's that sometimes just being a sheep is part of life. There's nothing wrong with it. There is a time to buck the trend, and there is the time to go away, but sometimes we do have to be sheeple. The internet doesn't want you to think this, but being a good
It's fun to be sheeple sometimes. It's fun.
It's fun, and you still gotta go bah, you know, like
look, be a part of the low grade cult sometimes. If the Kool-Aid just has like alcohol and sugar in it, be a sheeple unless you're not into alcohol, and that's fine. There's plenty of other drinks there.
And by the way, we missed a layer as well, which is this isn't even her friend. This is a friend of a friend. Like,
so, like, if you want to dress up, don't go.
Don't go.
Don't go.
You know what the best feeling in the world is? Not going to a party. That fucking
That's a good feeling.
rules. Oh, I love not going to a party. Are you kidding?
I almost feel like I don't know if we've done this verdict so much, but AITA for going to a birthday party in casual attire, it is YTA, but I kind of feel like it's YTA time served. Like, you kind of got brutally penalized for this, and OP, I hope you just learn from it, because that's just how this is going to go.
One of my favorite phrases that I picked up in my that I've picked up from pro wrestling. It's called catching a receipt. You stiff somebody, they're gonna have a receipt for you, and that's what you got here. I think you learned your lesson, but then again, it doesn't sound like you did, because you're still trying to make yourself sound like Joan of Arc. Get the fuck over yourself. If you want to go to a party, follow the dress code. It's not oppressive. It's an invitation to have fun with other people.
Guys, that's the app. Thank you so much for listening. Jake, great to see you as always. And Jackie, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an utter joy.
It's been fun.
Danny, we are going to table your multiple thruple invitations, and we'll get back to you. We'll let you know.
I honestly, guys, I didn't even mean it. It was just a joke. Please, guys, please. It was
own
just
it.
A joke.
You gotta own it. Like, the fact that you can't even own it, man. Come on.
All right, much love, all y'all. Wish me luck. I'll find another thruple, damn it. We'll see you guys next time.
Love y'all.